We are going to be talking about 2025 marketing trends that we saw for B2B and what we see as coming up into 2026 as marketing trends for next year as well.
Systems and automation. Really what this does is help you with consistency. It makes sure that your clients have a specific journey throughout their experience with you. It allows you to automate your own back-end systems of operations. Long form content. We're moving away from the 7-second attention span and we're diving into real engagement, right?
Leveraging your subject matter experts, leveraging your leadership, your CEO, because we are seeing that there's higher engagement rates when expert-driven content is prioritized. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the last and final episode of the Marketing Breakdown. This is the last episode of season 1, and today we are joined by the lovely Leslie Klatt. Leslie is also our marketing strategist and account manager at mrge Marketing, and I'm so excited to have her on this episode because we are going to be talking about 2025 marketing trends that we saw for B2B and what we see as coming up into 2026 as marketing trends for next year as well. So welcome, Leslie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So before we dive into 2025 trends, 2026 trends, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi, my name is Leslie, and I have been a project manager for the last 16 to 20 years and worked in marketing and business development and expansion projects throughout that time. And I'm a mom of 3.
Yes.
So if ever I needed to be organized and efficient, it's when I am running business marketing and taking care of 3 kids and doing all the things that we love to do.
Just incredibly impressive, and it's been wonderful working with you and definitely like full of different ideas. So Leslie works with a number of our clients and we implement and test different strategies. So over the last year, we've been collecting and compiling what has worked for our clients, and we're going to be sharing those 2025 trends with you. And then we've also started to look forward into 2026, start testing different things and just seeing where the market is going. And we're going to share what our predictions for 2026 marketing trends are going to be as well. So, we ready to dive in, Leslie?
Yes, always.
All right. I will let you kick it off with going into 2025 trends. What is the first trend we saw?
First trend we're talking about is the long-term vision and planning. Having a solid plan in place for your marketing has really changed the game for a lot of the clients that we onboarded throughout 2025, because what it really does is it keeps your visions, your values, and your goals aligned and almost becomes a measuring tool in the actions that you're taking in your business every day. So you can always go back to that plan, that board, the list, and make sure that what you're doing is getting you to where you really wanted to be, so you don't get lost in trends or in busy work, but you're actually making an impact with every action you take.
100%. And it keeps you focused. And that's where that plan, that strategy that should align with your business objectives always sort of holds true, something that you always go back to. So when you come up with like a creative idea or a campaign, okay, does it align with the marketing strategy? Is it
Yes.
taking me off course? So yeah, the long-term planning is like the foundational element, and that hasn't changed. But we also don't want it to change because this market is crazy and there's tons of different exciting new flashy tools and different things that people are coming out with that takes your attention away. But I really want to hone in on the point of being focused and staying focused. Hang on. Okay. So we'll get into number 2. The number 2 trend that we aligned on was segmentation strategies and personalization. And so this is across the board, understanding who your clients are, segmenting them in different ways, but definitely finding whether it's behavioral, whether it's demographic, a combination of both, and personalizing either your offers, your content that to focus on those audiences. And so, in fact, 65% of customers cite targeted offers as a primary reason for choosing a brand. So, the more you show that you know your audience, the more likely they are to buy into your brand.
I think a lot of that ties in with trust as well, right? They'll trust that you're delivering what you say when they know that you understand what they need.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And so my only other tip here is, yeah, move beyond basic demographics. So, and segment customers based on like real time behaviors or triggers and preferences so that you get more precise with the targeting. So don't just focus on like what their job title is, but look at behavioral um, indicators as well.
Definitely.
All right. Lead us into trend number 3.
Trend number 3 is maybe my favorite trend that we really put into play in a big way for our clients this year, and I see it happening everywhere, and it is long form content. We're moving away from the 7-second attention span, and we're diving into real engagement, right? So what long form content? I'm talking about longer form videos. I'm talking about articles and even case studies that really engage and keep the attention of your ideal audience. So not just people who are scrolling by because they're bored, but people who really want to know what you're talking about. A couple of stats on this that might shock you, but we've seen it time and time again throughout the year, is that the long form content has increased by 42% in usage over 2025. So it has almost, starting to take over. And I see that moving forward as well. Some cool things about longer form content, more keywords, more ranking in search engines as well. So
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. And I'm seeing longer form work better for a variety of different platforms because now every platform has their own sort of search implemented into it or search capability. So with LinkedIn, it's like the longer stories, the longer captions tend to work a little bit better. Same with Instagram is like adding more beef and meat into your captions. And then, of course, video. Like there is a stat as well that I saw that Gen Z is 17% more likely than average to watch long form videos because it helps. It obviously helps build that trust, like you were sharing. And then from a brand perspective, it helps nurture more loyal audiences. So build the long form content and then don't forget to reshare that content across different platforms in different ways. Could be different social posts, could be through carousels, could be little snippets, could be having live hosting sessions that kind of feed into what those long form content pieces are. So, yeah, don't just stop there. Going into number 4, which is actually going to be the last trend that we mentioned of 2025. But going into number 4 is very aligned to what we had just talked about, number 3 of long-term content. And this one also lends itself into building trust, and that is leveraging your subject matter experts, leveraging your leadership, your CEO, because we are seeing that there's higher engagement rates when expert-driven content is prioritized, especially in industries or sectors that need deep insight. So if your industry is niche, if your subject matter is niche, bring that subject matter expert to the limelight. Share that expertise because that helps build trust with your brand. And we specifically have seen within our clients where, it is a little bit time consuming for sure, but we piloted with a client where we asked, just create like 1 or 2 articles a month, or maybe just one, and it could be an opinion piece. And they were really great about sharing their over 20 years of knowledge, industry knowledge, kind of breaking it down, very human in his own voice, And he ended up becoming a regular contributor to a massive publication because of it. So we've seen definitely like a 200% increase in engagement when your subject matter experts are the ones leading the content, but then it can result in a number of other benefits as well.
Definitely. And when people build that trust in you and in your knowledge and your experience, then you are set up to succeed. And that your
Yeah.
marketing material isn't just making noise, but it's impacting your ideal clients and helping your business grow as well.
Okay, so those were four trends of 2025. You will probably mention or notice that we did not mention AI in that. And so, of course, AI is feeding into everything that we do. So we didn't include AI because of it's just now integrated into the work that we do. Now there are different ways of integrating it. I think that can be its own episode as a whole. But in terms of marketing in itself and specific tactics and strategies that we find are working, these are the four that we have seen have stayed true to the success of meeting those long-term objectives for our clients. And we don't think that that's changing. But going into 2026, we do have some additional trends that we see being added to the list.
Yeah, and some of these started to take form as well in the last half of 2025. But going forward with planning with our clients for 2026, they're wanted and at the forefront here.
Yeah, definitely. So now we're going to dive into 2026 predictions in terms of marketing trends. I say predictions, I'm actually pretty confident about all of them. Maybe one is like a little bit of an outlier. So the first one is a shift towards hybrid teams. So now that there's potentially a new skill set that's going to be needed with the introduction of AI, so that could be workflow process optimization or creation or agent creation specifically for marketing and marketing processes. You'll start to see a shift towards marketing teams building internally only and only looking for skill sets internally versus a combination of having some team members internally that can, lead projects and strategize, but then leaning on agencies who have the additional skill sets to augment their team and for what they need. And so we're already seeing that. That's essentially what the business that we're in already. And there was a recent study that showed 46% of companies are projected to use hybrid models, so a mix of in-house resources with agency support in 2026, which is actually up from 36% in 2025.
And I think with that too, having the long-term plan in place and knowing where you'll need support and at what time throughout the year or with different projects or launches that you have going on, you can engage with an agency or someone who could give you the support that you need without having to onboard a whole team.
Without a doubt. Yeah, that long-term strategy is so, so important. And then of course, like building that collaborative working in approach, let's just say, to make sure that you are effective in getting all the projects completed as you need to. All right, let's move on to 2026 trend number 2.
This is a fun one because it's event marketing as a main funnel. So actually hosting in-person events, attending in-person events, and networking with the ideal people in your local area or in areas abroad if you wanted to travel a little. So we have the comeback of the conferences. We have the comeback of launch events and grand openings that are really reaching the right kind of people who share your values, people who share your goals or need the services from your business. And what it does is builds that trust, which keeps coming back as a
Yeah.
trend here as well, and allows you to meet and educate and inform your audience. And we have seen a big increase in that in the last half of 2025 and going into 2026 as well. A lot of people are planning on quarterly events and working their marketing plans around that entirely.
Yeah, I think the trend of in person is going to be and has been already really important. And I was in another conversation with another person I was interviewing actually, and we said, you know, the one-to-one in-person opportunity to touch base is 50 times stronger than 10 to 15 digital touch points that you might have with somebody. So where there's the opportunity to meet in person, get in person. And that, you know, you mentioned it already, the theme of trust. So that's going to be kind of like a forever theme with so much noise online now. How can you continue to build that trust, show that you're human? But the event industry will grow to 36.3 billion by 2026 with B2B making up 40% of the spend.
Wow,
So really big focus for B2B.
but I love it.
Yeah. And there's so many different things you can do, right? Like you mentioned conferences and trade shows. There's also workshops or different types of like roundtables or very exclusive events. So as you start to go back to like that segmentation and understand the different needs of those segments, building out unique events that cater to those segments can get
Hmm.
you that much closer to building business with them. So yeah, lots you can do with events.
Yes. And photo ops. Don't forget the photo ops.
Yeah. Also goes back to what we had mentioned before. Leverage any type of marketing across so many different platforms. Don't just stop with just doing it once or just doing
Yes.
that one event. Okay, we're going to go into trend number 3. And also, it's, you know, I say it's a trend, it's been continuing forever and ever and ever. And it's going to become even more important. And that is your brand. And of course, being human. So, brand advocacy is very strongly linked to like quality, authentic storytelling. And what I've read is 51% of customers will promote brands online because of high quality and authentic engagement. So, one, your brand is super important. Make sure you have a distinct voice, personality, that you're consistent with that personality. Make sure that visual identity is consistent across the board in how you present yourself. And then, of course, make sure that internally you're representing that same personality when you're like communicating internally and making sure that your employees are also communicating externally in that sort of same brand perception that you want to hold. But yeah, don't ever forget. I say I say branding, but don't forget to add the human piece to it as well.
Yes, it's like walking the talk and surrounding yourself with exactly what you want your business to be perceived as. Showing up as a leader and leading the way.
Like being authentic in your branding and like this the whole storytelling part of it as well is going to be more and more important as AI and generative AI say that they can get better at content, which they've gotten amazing at content, but it's still so easy to tell when somebody's used generative AI for content versus just sharing it in your own voice. So be
Yes,
human,
being human. It should be easy. It should be easy for us.
right? Yeah, let's not forget about that. Let's not become too dependent on the machine.
Definitely. Then when it's out for a day,
Yeah,
the people panic.
all hell breaks loose. All right. Well, lead us into trend number 4 because this does tie into AI.
It does, which is funny, but I want you to now depend on it.
Yeah. That's true, actually.
Forget everything I just said.
Yeah.
And we're talking about systems and automation. And really, what this does is help you with consistency. It makes sure that your clients have a specific journey throughout their experience with you. It allows you to automate your own back end systems of operations. You know, all the invoices, the quotes, the work packages, the summaries, everything that you have to do and should keep to a certain quality, right? And you don't want to miss any information on it, have systems. And it doesn't always have to be that you invest in a big software program and everyone has to learn how to operate it. It can be as simple as having a, a desktop system where this is the list that you follow and these are the steps that you take every time one of these calls come through, or every time you're going to one of those meetings, you have XYZ to cross off your list before you go in. And what it does is help you just reference and keep things consistent. It saves on time, so efficiency, effectiveness, all of the things that we project managers love so much. And it reduces the stress and scramble when you have action to take in your business. So whether you're doing it a little more manually with spreadsheets or paper and pen, or if you have a robust system in your programs, your desktop or app, you can rely on that instead of scrambling, reacting, and suffering through
Yeah.
busy seasons or slower seasons, whatever you might have going on. It really makes sure that your business is operating at a consistent level.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't have said it better. And I know with the introduction of AI being integrated in a lot of these different platforms, now you have the ability to be even more efficient. I specifically kind of outlined here's where I'm spending so much time on the day to day, just like admin areas. I'm looking at ways of figuring out how I can build in automation to just save time. And some of that is, the built-in AI feature of I want to create this workflow. What's the best way to do it? Or can you just do it? And so identifying where you're spending a lot of time and where it can help you is imperative. So systems and automation is always important, but now it allows, with the introduction of AI into these platforms, it allows you to become more efficient faster.
Yes. And then following through and using those systems
Oh, yeah.
is a whole other episode.
Oh, yes. And so this leads us to our final trend of 2026 and a little bit of a prediction, but we've seen a big change or focus from SEO, knowing that AI search engines are kind of starting to pick up the pace when it comes to how people are searching. And so the trend that I'm predicting is that AI and LLM SEO and advertising are going to start to become more and more of a feature that we see being built into AI and LLM engines. So, AI interfaces are projected to drive 25% of all traffic in 2026. And it's going to continue to increase from there. But as a stepping stone, of course, creating content that will rank in AI is number one. I don't think that there's a perfect answer for this, but what we've seen is if you follow the best practices for SEO, make some tweaks in terms of making sure your data is structured. There's a summary at the beginning, there's FAQs that are added on to your pages. Those typically help rank in not just search engines, but also AI engines as well. So following best practices has helped see the success within search for AI as well. But I wouldn't say that that means you don't stop with SEO. The best practices still apply. So continue to apply those best practices to the things that you're doing. But I do think we're going to start to learn more about how AI engines are ranking content. And there might be its own methodology coming out. And then eventually advertising in AI engines is going to become a thing.
I definitely see the advertising as a prediction for sure. I know we've talked about it a little bit too. And it it's a great opportunity if they haven't thought about it.
Yeah, right. I don't know if it's going to happen as early as 2026, but you know, think of like any platform that started and the adoption has been really, really fast. Like you have Netflix. They started with, a free option or just like a really low fee option. But then over time, as people started to use it and they needed to improve profit or become profitable, they added ads. And as you take people away from search, which is like where Google makes a lot of money from advertising, it's got to go. You have to move the advertising somewhere.
Yeah.
So I do think it's going to happen. We'll see if 2026 is the year, but just just be ready for it.
Save this, mark your calendars. We
Yeah.
said it first.
You heard it here. All right, well, that wraps up the 2026 trends and the 2025 trends as well. And like I said, we didn't really dive into AI tools in too much detail because it is already integrated into everything we do. And we could have a separate episode or conversation around like the processes we can create or how we integrate AI the right way without diminishing what our brand or like human voice is. So stay tuned. That could be a future episode. But for now, we have closed off our last episode. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you, Leslie, for sharing your
Thank you.
insights. Of course. And stay tuned for season 2 to come out in 2026.